Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.
All right, y'all, welcome to Bar Talk with Jay. And guess who I got in the building with me? Craftmatic in the building.
Yes, sir. What's happening with you, Smooth Jay?
Man, let me tell you, Craft, man, interesting day, but one thing I can always say, it wasn't like Jeffrey, okay? I ain't got to slap the taste out of nobody's mouth.
Okay.
It wasn't that bad, man.
Right.
I was able to tone some things down, make some things happen. I had some long days, but bottom line, I'm blessed. I'm here.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'm next to the man that holds it down with me, Craftmatic.
No
How you
doubt,
doing,
man.
bro?
Man, I'm doing good, bruh.
That's what I like.
Man, I got so much to share tonight. January has been like a blitzkrieg month, man. And I wanted to challenge everyone as to where they are with their New Year's resolution or their New Year's goals. I think this is a great time to ask some questions about how you're doing. And, are you holding on? Are you following the action steps? Are you still thinking about it?
You about to get some stuff started. Okay! Well, I tell you what, before we do that, I guess I have to jump in because it's on here again. A short prayer. Now, this prayer right here is going to go out to all y'all that might have been came down with the sickness. Heavenly Father, please bless all these people that's been coming down with the flu, all kinds of sickness. Please gather their strength, give them hope, give them power to get past. This is just a moment. So again, we need to make sure we're doing all the right things, Father. We need to be following your guidance and continue doing the right things in this life for you to continue to give us your grace and your mercy.
Yes.
So continue to bless everyone in the world today. In Jesus' name.
Yes.
I pray.
Amen.
So again, that was
Well,
again.
you got it in you, Jay. You got it in you.
I had to look over there at you, and I know you're recovering.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people got this bug going on, and I want to make sure everybody comes through this because
Yes.
there's some people that passed away.
Absolutely.
And my heart goes out to anybody that died of any sickness.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me just back up one little tiny bit.
Back it up.
Just say that this is Bar Talk with Jay.
Yes, it is.
And my name is Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay. And we are here to be leaders in our community. We are here to make a difference. And the way that we intend on making a difference is just to start a dialogue. We have a couple of real particular ideas that we want to focus in on tonight, but for the most part, Jay and I just want to have a dialogue about these ideas, and as we do, we're hoping that it helps you grow. We're hoping that it helps inspire you to the next level. We're hoping that you get something for your heart and something for your mind, something that you can take on to tomorrow and be a better person. And maybe be stronger and be happier and be healthier. But this is all about inspiration. And so I'm glad that you all are with us tonight. Again, this is just our opportunity to pour in, and we got a dynamic show for you tonight. And we won't belabor the point, so let's take a quick recap.
Oh, you remember that, man? The question was...
Excuse me.
Oh, we forgot about Barbara.
We ain't got to
Make
forget
it,
Barbara. She's in the
Georgia.
studio. Speak up.
That's
Let's
right.
go. How you doing
I
tonight, Miss
understand I've been
Barbara?
gone for a month, but I am back.
Okay.
All right.
And I
Okay.
would like to say thank everybody for watching. And I have 3 things to announce today.
Go ahead.
I would like to say happy birthday to my baby son,
Mhm.
who also has a son that was born today.
Okay.
But unfortunately, we lost our dad on the same day.
Mm.
But we're all happy, and
Yes.
that's all that matters.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Heart goes
I
out,
like
happiness
that.
goes
I
out.
like that. And we're glad to have you back in the studio, Miss Barbara. And boy, we need your input on this one tonight too. So make sure you continue to chime in, because I know you're always full. I can see them facial expressions over there, so I know something going on. But she don't usually say a lot. So
No, she don't.
yeah, she doesn't. So
I speak through the script.
yes, you do. Yes, you do. Just a quick recap, folks. On next week, we got a guest coming in the studio by way of the phone tonight, and it's going to be another dynamic opportunity to hear a great leader in our community. So let's just cover quickly last week's show. For those of you who missed it, it was a great show, and
Off the chain.
yeah, it was off the chain. Let me see. I'm missing that note. Which yeah.
that?
Oh, here we go. Are we here to be happy or fulfill a purpose? Could it be both or neither? Let's talk about the meaning of life and what it means to live life. And man, we did a fabulous job with that show. I
Changed.
really like what we did, Jay.
Changed the way I was thinking. So, of course, I loved it.
Yeah. It just gives you an opportunity to look at life, folks, from about 40,000 feet and figure out that, hey, I'm in a place in my life now where I really need to focus on my happiness. I done gave to everybody else all of my life, now it's my turn. Or perhaps you done played around enough in life and now it's time for you to say, hey, it's time to go achieve something. It's time to go get something big. It's time to take care of my future, meaning my retirement years, by starting a business, getting a better paying job, getting more education, getting yourself healthier in your body and your mind. It's so many different ways, so many different ways that will help you focus in on your purpose. But I'm just a big proponent of, we're not here to laugh and play. We're here to get work done. And that's how I live my life. I've had plenty of great, happy, fun party days. And now it's about doing what I can do to take care of the generations of people behind me. That's what I think God has given me a vision to do. And I'm going to do it until I do it or I cease from trying to do it.
Keep on doing it, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm right here with you, baby.
Yeah. So it was another great show, folks. You can always visit us on any of our media outlets. Bar Talk with Jay is where our home is. BarTalkWithJay.com. You can see us on or hear us on iTunes. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook.
Yes.
We're on Periscope. And probably so many SoundCloud.
Spreaker.
If you type BarTalkWithJayIn.com. Or Bar Talk with Jay into Google, you'll find us, and I promise you, we got something to say, and want you to hear it. Over 70 shows, over 70 two-hour shows sitting right there on our website for you to listen to and learn from and participate in by means of having these dialogues with your family.
And definitely, if you go to the YouTube, please share.
Yes.
If you like it, hit the like, but I'd love for you guys to be able to go ahead and subscribe, and that way it automatically comes to you. Again, I have no problem trying to send it to everybody.
Right.
But if they subscribe, it automatically comes. So the minute we post it, it's right there to you.
Okay.
So again, please make sure you go in there and then go to the web page. And you got all the shows. Everything is on the web page. It makes it real easy. Then you get to find out where we're going and what we're doing, and that way you can help support us.
Right.
And I guess this is about the time we're going to jump in there real quick with Pastor Anthony.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this is Pastor Anthony. And he was on the previous show with us.
Yes, the
and
Eve Effect.
Man, let me tell you.
Changed the game. How about you? Pastor Anthony, I know you're there now. Oh, we got to turn them up a little bit. Got to turn them up. Hold on.
Oh, we can hear you, but the audience can't hear you. Hold on just one moment. We're going to get it just right. That ain't nothing but the enemy trying to hold us back.
Yeah.
Go on over there and get it right, Jay.
Yeah, you know what we do.
Yeah, so this is a brother who I truly respect and admire. He is where I want to be when I start teaching people about love and relationships. Just a supernatural way of explaining, how people and love languages and relationships work, and from a divine measure. And so let's give it up for Pastor Anthony tonight. And can you hear us now, bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you loud and clear. And glad to have you with us
Awesome.
again, man. How you been?
Man, listen, I am busy. Listen, just as busy as President number 44.
Okay. I like to hear that. I like to hear
We're
that.
not going to mention number 45. We're going to talk about 44.
Okay, I'm there.
Super busy, fellas.
Yes, sir. I like to hear that. That means achievement at its finest, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And congratulations, fellas, on doing a great job in getting the word out and being a blessing to our community as well.
Absolutely, man. So you have a show coming up. I know Jay probably wanted to chime in on it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I had to get you back right. I had to make sure we can hear you there,
Yeah,
so I do
appreciate
apologize.
Mm-hmm.
So we back, man. You got to let everybody know what you got going on next Friday, February the 9th. You got to let everybody know because, again, Pastor Anthony been doing great things, and y'all attend to his church. He speaks very powerfully, but the one thing I love about him, he wrote a book, and it changed my perception. The Eve Effect really helped me, but what I really want is for him to speak, not for me. You can't speak over a pastor. Pastor, tell him what's going on February the 9th.
All right. Now, next Friday is going to be an awesome time. I'm doing a pre-launch party of my new brand. I am A.L. Wilson, the relationship mentor. And so we're packaging everything that I do in terms of love and relationships. Also with authors boot camp. So if you want to write a book, get it published, I got some things in place to help you make that happen. And so got some things for married couples. Of course, I always got a lot for the singles. I'm still doing a ladies' night out event, but more importantly, I got a little clothing line that'll be coming out with T-shirts and some of my paraphernalia centered around my new brand. It's going to be a blessing to everyone who desires more and better in their love and relationships. And on top of all of that, the icing on the cake is the one and only Brother Jay will be my special MC that evening.
Yes.
And what we'll be doing that night, we'll do some dialogue and question and answers and get into the hearts and minds of those who come and attend. The tickets are only $25, which includes food, games, giveaways, and maybe some libations if that's what you want to do. But you're going to have a good time and impact and impart what it is that God has given to me to share with everyone that comes in. Just want to revamp what we've been doing and give it a fresh new look, a fresh new outlook as it relates to love and relationships. So you're invited. We'd love to see everyone there. 1963 Hosea Williams Drive in Atlanta, Georgia, historic Kirkwood area. At the venue is called Kirkyard House, Public House. I'm sorry, Kirkyard Public House, and it begins at 8 p.m. and we'll go to probably about 10:30.
Perfect,
Man.
perfect.
You know what I love so much about what you do, Pastor, is that when it comes to love and relationships, there doesn't seem to really be any genuine outlets for development. It seems like like people don't have a way to heal. They don't have a way to open up their hearts and minds to new ideas and maybe to let go of those old stifled ideas. And that's what these type of workshops and programs are designed to do. They're designed to renew your mind because we all kind of live in a bubble until we interact with other people and until we hear ideas from our quote-unquote experts. So thank you so much, Pastor Anthony, for what you're doing. And just a quick glimpse, what is your vision for at 40,000 feet for the type of work that you do and your book, for example?
Well, one of the main things, especially in the just the whole premise and purpose for me writing, is to bring back a strong foundation as it relates to the family. I believe once the family structure and the family unit gets back to where it needs to be, we can see a better society, better people.
Yes.
It's hard to get people to act in a way that they should if they haven't had any foundation at the house. And so that's really the premise. And so what I decided to do is to embark on a journey to for everyone that's getting married, everyone who desires to be married, to just give them that guidance. Because when you're sick, you go to the doctor. When you need a job, you go to the employment office.
Yes.
But what do you do when you have issues in your relationship? Well, I want to suggest you come to the relationship mentor.
Yes.
And let's see if we can look at where you are and get you to where you need to be. I'm a strong advocate that a person needs to find their purpose. And when you have issues in a relationship, you always have to go back to the foundation of asking yourself this one question: if I really want this, am I willing to be intentional to make it be what it needs to be? And so, as far as my vision, it is to have people who come out of my program or my series or workshops or what have you, that they come out with an understanding, with tools that they need for their relationship situation. I'm expanding my mentorship even not only to couples, but also to parents. If you want a better relationship with your children, I'm a single father, so there's some things I can share with you as well,
Yes.
even in that mindset. So that's where we're going with that.
Yes.
Maybe to the point where we have a TV show, we bring people in, and try to get them, get them set up to be where they need to be.
I love it.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely love
Especially when they said that single parent. I mean, I wasn't at one time, but I got some words. I got some, We don't worry about that, Pastor. We don't talk about our sidebar. Sidebar!
All right, folks. Well, listen, you heard the big news, and please come out. Bring your friends, bring your family, bring your neighbors, bring your co-workers. This is an opportunity for everybody to grow in love. I think love is just something that it's one of the greatest things you could ever have, but some of us miss out on so much of it.
Say it again.
And so I just love, again, what Pastor Anthony is doing, because he's ultimately bringing love back into the world. And without love, our world is doomed.
Thank you.
So thank you again, Pastor Anthony. And we'll make sure to continue to press the word.
Oh, yes.
Any parting words for us tonight, sir?
Yes, you can find me on all social media at I am A.L. Wilson, or the Relationship Mentor, or author, Pastor Anthony L. Wilson. And we definitely want you to come on out, all couples. Oh, I'm doing something special. If you are engaged, or if you get engaged in the month of February, I have a special offer to you as it relates to your premarital counseling and being a relationship mentor to you. Because one of the things we find out that's a problem is people they'll get counseling up until they get married, but then after they get married, they don't get any more counseling.
Right.
But I have a program in place that it's going to be a continual program and process and growing and development, because when you are a better person, your relationship will be better.
Yes.
And so those tickets are $25. You can go to my page. There's a link on there, and go ahead and on Eventbrite, and you'll just get those tickets and get there. We got 50 seats. I want it to be a very intimate but yet powerful setting.
Yes.
And so we're going to have a great time on next week.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Pastor, and we'll continue to press the word, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the 9th, sir.
All right, man. God be blessed.
Okay. All right. Have a good night.
Take care.
Folks, we have a dynamic lineup for you tonight, and we're not going to miss a beat. We still got Miss TK coming on. And
Oh, look at him.
and
He
we
gets
still
happy over
got
there. Look at that smile.
the good Reverend Dr. Jeffrey coming on. Just to give a quick blurb, and let's take a break. Tonight, we are talking about what are the things that people do to push one another away. Both personal and professional, how do we mess up good things? Let's talk about the pitfalls of building relationships. And remember, I said at the beginning of the show, this is an opportunity for us to look at ourselves, to really put the mirror in front of ourselves and be a better person. We can't blame the world anymore for the things that happen to us. We have to take full responsibility, and we do that by changing the things within us that can make a difference in our world and our relationships. So you folks stay tuned.
I just want you to know how to put that shoe on. Welcome back with Bar Talk with Jay, and guess who we got on the line? TK! How you doing, girl?
I'm doing well. How is everybody?
We doing good.
Oh,
we doing
yeah.
good.
Well, you just
TK.
over-talked me. Lord have mercy.
Bro, I'm just speaking to my co-host, bro. That's all it is.
I'm just saying, you got awful chipper there, God damn.
Well, for you folks don't know, it seems like Brother Jay is always trying to put me and Miss TK together.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Nah,
It don't seem like
I
I
ain't gonna lie,
tried. When
she
you
real.
go on break, she go on break. I'm just saying. Y'all break together.
Well, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, she is real fine.
What?
And she's smart, you know, and she like to talk a little
Listen, she's smart. You
nonsense.
don't know she's smart.
She really my kind of people. I just ain't never told her that before.
Oh,
But,
yeah. Yo, oh, Lord. You want to put hands
Wait a
on you?
minute.
What?
I
What?
didn't say I'm not smart.
No, I ain't saying you ain't. Well, yeah, kind of. You know, I mean, just, you know.
Nah, we
I
know
mean,
you
TK, I work with you, girl. You know, I know you special. You know, you rode that short bus. You wasn't on that long. You was on that short. But all that.
See, you
It
folks,
wasn't tinted.
you folks
It
don't.
was just short.
It was the
It's
short.
a big difference.
Yeah, it had no tint on it. It's short though. That bus is short.
All right.
I go for the short bus. I'm short, so it was big to me.
Yeah, I got you. I got you either way, man.
And she had a helmet on. Girl, what's going on,
What
TK?
you got for us tonight, Miss TK? Let's rock and roll.
What I have tonight is amongst friends. Do you loan friends money? Because there are some friends based on their history that I can say, well, okay, I can loan you for a little something. And there are some friends I was like, girl, no, because I still want us to be friends tomorrow. Do you loan for a substantial? Because $20 is not really money. Do you loan substantial amounts of money to friends?
Well,
I mean, I'm gonna let you go ahead since you're so happy to talk to her. But I got this afterwards. I'm telling you.
I mean, the reality is you have to know who you're dealing with. And there are people who have proven themselves not loan worthy, you know?
You gotta borrow it back.
Listen, they ain't gonna bring it up and they don't want you to bring it up.
That way they ain't get no loan.
That they owe you some money. So there are those who are special someones in my life who I'll loan the shirt off my back. And so, you know, that's because I respect them to that degree, and I think they respect me to that degree. And man, I'm telling you right on the money tonight, because what tonight's title of the show is what are the things that people do to push one another away from each other.
That what
And, you know, yeah, and you borrow money from somebody and you don't pay them back, and then you don't want to bring it up. Just know, folks, that money, if you haven't experienced it, will change a friendship.
Yes, it can.
It will change a relationship. It will cause one to get bitter. It will cause one to get quiet on you. It will cause one to maybe look at you kind of funny, you know. And, you know, what's most important in the whole equation is that, especially if you're friends, you're just supposed to keep your word. That's what it's all about. Keep your word. And it seems like it would be easier to keep your word with friends than it would be with strangers, or than it would with just associates, right? And so that's what makes it so tense, that if you loan money to a friend, you're expecting them to respond way better than the guy who you loan money at work, right? You're expecting your friend to come clean and to be upright and to pay you back, and for the relationship to not be tampered by money and money issues. That's a tough subject for most of the people who you'll have to analyze this conversation about. I loan my dad and my mom money, my cousin, might not be able to get it.
Him shout.
Yeah, and I love him to death. But, if I make that loan, I'm going to have to not expect it in return. And then if I get it, it'll be just a blessing. It'll be gravy,
And I was going to tell you, certain people already got in the category, pay back or not, doesn't matter. I feel like I owe them.
Right.
They pour so much into me, I just willing to give. All right?
Absolutely.
Now, out of that circle, I got the big circle. And on the big circle, I believe you need to give me a pitch.
Okay.
If you come to me and you want to borrow something, you need to come with a pitch, and I need to know what am I basically investing.
I like that, Jay.
Without you coming with a pitch and a feeling that I'm going to get repaid and how I'm going to get repaid,
Right.
Why am I giving it? Because you're making them comfortable.
Yeah.
All right? And
Yeah.
if they ain't able to pay their bill, all right, and I give them the money,
Mm-hmm.
in your heart of heart, you feel like you did something.
Right.
Let me tell you something. If you cut their artery and you put a Band-Aid on it, you might feel like you did something.
Right.
They're going to die.
Right.
They gonna die.
Right.
Because what you just did is a temporary fix
Right.
that's gonna keep bleeding out.
Right.
So we getting happy over the small achievements and we ain't looking at the big one, because if they don't learn what they're doing, they're gonna continue doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I make them do a pitch, it's something different than they ever did before.
Yeah.
Because they were like, why I gotta do a pitch to you? Because you're coming too comfortable.
Right.
You coming because you don't want to do the right things to grow.
Right.
Guess what? It's time to grow and learn something different.
Yeah.
if you go for a business, you got to do a pitch. You got to pitch your ideas to somebody that has the money to see if they're willing to invest in you. My whole thing is the same thing when you go to a friend. Go to a friend and be like, yo, TK, listen, I got this great idea, and if you was able to give me this amount of money, I can probably do this for you. And it's not just repay you. I might be able to give you a little extra. At this point, I feel value because now you're trying to give me more than just what I even loaned you.
Right.
Let alone scare me, make me
Right.
feel like I'm not going to get it back.
Right.
Because typically, man, cuz, you know, I need it. Okay, that's not telling anything. And it's
Right.
not.
And I
it's
like
not,
that.
It's that's dummying down.
Yeah.
You can't go to some bank and say, I want it just because.
Right.
They ain't going to give it to
And
you.
what you're saying is, hey, you need to come to me like you would go to the bank,
Thank you.
like you would go to them.
But you
for
don't
the
want to
money.
go to them because you know not paying them back is a lot of consequence.
Well,
But not paying you, you going to get mad,
You know
get a little attitude.
Then you
whatever.
ain't gonna get it from them in the first place.
Well,
That's why you
once
ain't
you
went
burn
down.
a couple of them.
That's why you ain't went down there and asked for it, because the credit ain't quite right. Now, let me just put a little spin on the subject.
Go for it.
The Word of God, the Bible, says in essence, the Bible says that if someone asks you for help and you have it, you're supposed to give it to them. Now, I do believe that the Word also has a loophole that says you don't plant seed on stony ground. And I think if you put those two together, that basically says that, hey, if you know you got a righteous person in front of you and they ask for your help, you're bound by the Spirit to help them. And you may not be able to give it all to them, but if you got it, the Lord says you're supposed to let go of it and get up off of it. And it doesn't always feel good. I found myself loaning money to people, just not really feeling good about it, but doing what the Word says. And so it's an equation that has to be answered by every individual. And I think every individual times individual, right? You know, for everybody you know, you're going to have to assess that situation if money comes up.
And on a situation like that one, Kraft, I got another little formula.
Okay.
Whatever you ask for, either half or less.
Half or less.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you a reason why.
Okay.
If I give it all, you're gonna get happy and you ain't gonna change. I'm just being honest with you. You're not. You're gonna be happy and you're not gonna change.
I mean,
because
listen,
see, you're in a situation that you need help.
But you're
if
trying
I
to be
give you,
you're trying to be the parent right there,
it's
and
not
rather
even a
than
parent.
helping.
It's
right?
not. It's
You're
not being a parent. I need to make sure you go somewhere else to make sure you understand. I'm not gonna make it that easy.
Right.
Just because I have it don't mean I'm supposed to give it all away.
Right.
For me not to have anything and everybody else
Right.
to come back for more.
Right.
It's gonna be an uneven pour.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is make it a little bit even by doing a little bit less to make them do a little bit
And listen,
more.
The only thing I think about that, Jay, is
What's
the spirit of karma. That
Please, I gave.
just imagine if the Lord thought like that, right? You don't really want that thought process to enter into the.
Correct.
You don't want to take that much control because what we're managing, no matter who you are, what you're
Correct.
managing is not
The
yours.
Lord didn't give you everything.
It belongs to Him.
I know, but
And
he didn't give you everything.
He just wants
He
you
took
to.
one of your ribs
he
so he
just-
can make a woman.
He just wanted
He made
you
you incomplete.
the resources, right? He it's not yours. It's just meant for you to utilize it. And really all he wants to know is how are you going to utilize it. And if you have a body of works of utilizing the Lord's riches and his abundance and his provision, if you place it in proper perspective, then he'll multiply it for you and give you more responsibility
See?
along with more money.
There you go. So don't give it all to him. That's what I said. You said the same thing. That's why I said take that rib.
I didn't say
give
the
that
same
piece. I give you a piece of it. I mean, that's what he did for us.
He did not say that.
He did.
We are servants.
I'm just saying. I was
We
just
are
saying a piece.
servants for the Lord.
I mean, we are.
Yes, we
I
are.
just took that part of the Bible because it did take a piece of a rib to make a woman, right?
What?
Wasn't it a piece of rib?
Hold
Wasn't it a
on.
piece of the whole rib?
Another
It wasn't the whole rib cage. It took a piece. All right. So again, taking a
You're drowning,
piece.
man.
Taking a piece. Because again, it's sometimes I really do believe in when you give all, then it's not everybody don't answer the right way. And I feel like sometimes you have to get them to search and understand that you got to go through some things. I really feel like people ask because it's easy. And I want them to not ask as much as suffer through, because I will suffer through before I ask. Before I go to a friend or anybody, I will make sure I suffer through because I made a mistake.
Here's the thing. Even though you suffer through, unless you're bold for or braggadocious about your suffering, nobody will ever know you suffered. Only thing they will experience is the request. They don't know that you've been hungry for 2 days. All they know is you just came and asked for something.
Right.
And so when they ask for something, you don't know the spirit behind the request. That's why the Lord said, hey, you know, I might have put it in their mouths to come and get that from you that day because I knew you had it. So I'm going to go ahead and use you as a vessel for the Holy Spirit to move for these people. And so sometimes you just have to stay away from, I think what happens in the world oftentimes is that we overthink things. And we start looking for the enemy because the world is so full of the enemy. You know, we've been taken so many times. That's where that's coming from. Right?
Yeah,
you've been taken so many times that you start to lock up. Like, okay, the next person asks me for money, I'm gonna teach them a lesson. The next person asks for money, I'm gonna parent them a little bit. I'm gonna try to get them straight. But that may not be what they need at the time, and only the Lord knows. And so if you just do what you're supposed to do, and that may be give half. You know, for you that's give half.
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna give, and I might give some extra. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm talking about.
Especially if I know that they're going to pay me back. If somebody asks you for $50, that ain't nothing. $50 ain't gonna get you through the week. So if I got a $100 bill, if I got 3 or 4 100s in my pocket, I might shoot it to them. And then if you don't use it, give it back. But if you could use it, you know what I'm saying, use it, take good care of yourself. And I knew that they needed, I had it, and so I'm a big proponent of giving, man. And I'm not fearful of giving, you know what I mean? I think
I like receiving. I mean, if people just want to give it, I like receiving.
I like receiving too, but a lot of people, when you receive from them, they want favor. They want something back. They give
they want performance.
They give it with intention. Remember what I did for you last week?
What you gonna be doing for me next week?
I don't like that spirit. I don't like that spirit. Any further, anything to say on tonight's topic, Miss TK? What kind of things do people do to push one another away?
I don't like dishonest people.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather you be honest with me, even if sometimes everybody can't handle honest, but I would rather you kill me with truth than slay me with a lie. Just tell me what it is and let me deal with my feelings, but don't lie to me. I don't like it. It bothers me. It breaks down the trust factor and everything else. So now I don't know if when you're telling me the truth, if you're really telling me the truth. So I just be honest. Even if it hurts, just give it to me. I'm a big girl, I can handle it.
But you know,
TK, I got one. TK, for the audience that don't know, TK gets in her feelings and she carries a gun. So I'm just saying, TK, that's why most people don't want to fool with you. I'm just saying, you get in your feelings and you be packing.
I get in my feelings. I handle my feelings really well. People are just not honest, and they want to be coddled like children. So when I tell you what I need to tell you and you get in your feelings, then I get in my feelings.
And it ain't pretty. That's what I'm just saying. That's why I call it TK. It's really TKO.
Yeah.
That girl gonna knock you out.
I like that, TK, because what I hear is what typically happens is that you're responding to BS. And people like to push their BS out, but they don't want you to respond to it. And and I know me, when BS is coming at me, I like to stamp it out real quick. You know, I don't like to just let BS just wallow all around the room and people say a bunch of non-stuff, and I like to stop it right at the edge. But I'm a real patient man, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna take a lot for me to get there, but when I get there, I'm gonna have something to say, and I'm not meaning to be respectful, but I'm gonna be very blunt about the subject, and it's probably gonna be in a direct opposition of you, and that causes problems. You know what I mean? That causes problems among people.
That's what pushes people away.
Well, you know what? And at that point, though, they need to go away. That's what I'm telling you. Right?
Dang, Kraft!
I mean,
Can you be any nicer?
I mean, listen, man. I'm in sales, right? The number one thing that a customer will do is lie to me. I catch customers in lies all the time. like every single customer I'll catch in a lie or this and that, all right? So now I have a whole world that I have to overcome lies to make a living. And so you gotta some, when people start talking about, oh yeah, I probably got a 650, 700 Beacon. I was like, oh yeah, well why you driving that little Pinto out there?
Man said a Pinto. They still got
Right? They do still got them. Yeah.
He said, yeah, he
But
pulled
what
up
you
last
do
week.
is you have to call it out. You was like, hey, listen, if you had a 750, you wouldn't be driving that right there, right? Let's face it, you probably been through some challenge. I've been through some challenge. Everybody that had bad credit, and I started identifying with them and bring them back to reality. But I can't work through a lie, right? And that's what Ms. TK is saying. You can't work through a lie, right? A lie is a misdirect. It's a mislead. It's a, it's a sleight of hand. And you can't operate in a relationship with people through sleight of hand, right? Straight up and straight down works really, really well. It sometimes can be a little emotional and a little hurtful, but straight up and down is what makes the world go round. And that's just the way it is. So any parting words for us tonight, Ms. TK?
No parting words. Jeremy, you need to be careful about the words and phrases you use. You left yourself open to some stuff tonight, but I'm gonna leave you alone.
Oh, you
But
gonna let it go? You gonna let it go for real? For what?
Yeah, because it's not family friendly. I'm gonna let it go.
Okay.
But I want you to know there will be a sidebar later where I pointed out to you what you're gonna do.
Oh, so in other words, we're gonna have a fight. It's all good. Cause that's what we do. We fair. We fight.
We stir things up here
That's
on
right.
Talk with Jay. You folks stay with us. We'll be right back.
We back. Wanna talk with Jay, and again, smooth sounds of Craftmatic.
Yes, sir. We on it tonight, boy.
And I don't know what's about to happen right now, but we got Jeffrey, which we pray had a good day. Jeffrey, how you doing?
Brother Jay, what's going on with you, sir?
Man, I am doing wonderful. Praying that you had a good day, player.
I like it when they have bad days.
No, when you have a bad day, everybody have a bad day. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm scared to get a flat tire around Jeffrey.
How you doing tonight, Brother Jeffrey? How you doing, man?
Brother Kraft, good to talk to you, man. Listen, I'm gonna be real cool with it now because, I'm off site. I'm not in my regular spot, Work was a little bit of a bear, but we made it through, but you know what time it is.
Yes, sir.
It's time for you to close your mouth and listen. Now, I got one reason for the man, and I got one reason for the woman as to why you're single, but I want everybody to know that even though I got to keep it low, here is my disclaimer.
Okay.
Now, what I'm going to talk about might not apply to you. If it doesn't apply to you, I don't want you to put your foot up in this shoe.
Okay.
But if it does apply to you, I want you to put both feet in both shoes because you're going to learn something tonight. Now, I'm talking low because I'm in a hotel. So, ladies, you go first.
Okay.
Ladies, you might be single because you a freak. And I mean, you a freak. I mean, you just hot, nasty, and freaky with it for everybody else but your man. I want you to feel me now. You get that dude that you meet for that one night stand in the club, and you put it on him. You wear his ass out.
Mm-hmm.
You get this guy that you always wanted to hook up with. You put it on him because you always wanted to show him what that cookie was all about.
Yeah.
But then you get with your man, and you become a mom. You become everything but that vixen that he fell in love with. You become the matriarch of the household. You become the woman of the house. You become everything of the house, but you forget to be that freak.
Right.
What I need you to understand, ladies, that every now and then you need to freak us. Now, we want you to love us.
Yeah.
We want you to love on us. We want you to take care of the children. We want you to be partners with us. But every now and then you need to freak us.
Right.
Now, if you fail to freak us every now and then, and I mean freak up no nasty, freaky self every now and then,
Right.
we get bored. And when we get bored, ladies, what we do, we start to wander. And when we start to wander, we start to leave your ass. Where you go?
In search of another freak.
What? You lost it. We gonna regain it.
Boy, I tell you what.
What you want,
I
dude?
can't. Listen, that's a drop the mic.
What?
Right there, boy. That's a drop
Algae.
the mic. I won't even touch that.
Algae.
I don't want to touch that one. Jeffrey, I'm going to let you keep that one. I think you're right on point.
Oh,
But,
I don't want to touch it, but I love you.
hey, listen.
That deep. That was deep.
Hey, listen, I would support any message telling women to freak the men. I think from 40,000 feet. Go ahead, Jeffrey. Keep
You
it
go
going,
from
man.
50 at this point. I like it. What you got for us?
All right now, fellas, don't think I'm letting you off the hook.
Okay.
Fellas, you next. Fellas, you might be saying because you too damn conservative.
Oh.
Now I need you to understand that every man needs to have a conservative side that he can take to church or take to the papers. You know, the woman needs to be able to take you places and, you know, you can handle yourself and you can, you know, switch it up on them. Yes, but not in the bedroom. You're too damn conservative. You need to know your woman's mood and you need to be in tune with her.
Yes.
Because when you're in tune with your woman, you know you can walk up to her and, you know, hug on her and kiss her on the neck, say, baby, I love you. And then the other time you can walk up to her and you can put your hand around her throat and say, when we beat your ass in this bedroom. And she gonna respond each time.
Yes.
Because you know how to switch it up on her.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you this, fellas, if you send your woman a nasty text saying, hey, as soon as you get off work, I'm gonna give you a bath and I'm gonna tear that ass up, she gonna say, okay.
See that smiley face?
She ain't gonna be mad at you. She's not gonna be mad at you. She's gonna be agreeable to it. She's gonna tell all her girlfriends, I got something to do. Now, girl, I got something else to do. Jill Scott wrote a song about it.
Right.
So, fellas, what I want you to understand, like, we like to be freaked. Women like to be freaked too, but we just have to get in her mind, start freaking her mind. When we start freaking her mind, what happens is she becomes bored. And when she becomes bored, well, the cookie starts to become less sweet for you because a guy like Jeffrey knows how to dip that cookie in some milk.
Mm-hmm.
And when I dip that cookie, she gonna leave your ass single.
Woo!
Man, I'm telling
It's
you
gonna
what.
leave it like that.
Listen, I like that one too.
That was smooth, wasn't it?
Listen, I like any message that tell the men to freak the ladies.
What? Oh, come on now. Yeah.
I mean, boy, you hit the nail on the head tonight, Brother Jeffrey. Listen, the most incredible part of the men's side right here, being too conservative, is that men, he's trying to tell you to open up. You got to freak her mind.
There you go.
Right? It's about making it stimulating. It's about opening doors of excitement for her. It's about her understanding maybe a new side of herself that you can bring out of her. But, you know, it ain't necessarily the touching and the moaning and all that. It's about freaking her mind. It's about the messages you send all day long. Those little text messages, putting a note in her pocket, saying something sweet when she walks in the door, saying something out of the box when she walks in the door. Man, we talking about putting real, you know, putting a real freak back in love. You know what I mean?
Tell gang
Getting
tonight,
excited
ain't you?
tonight, bruh. I think I might be
Crab's
saying
done, Crab's done to tell gang tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, Jeffrey, you hit the nail on, man. Keep going for us, man. What you got?
Okay, now, tonight's lesson was about sexuality as it relates to men and women and how to keep the fire going. I want everybody to understand me now. There's a point to this. Yes, we need to love on each other. Yes, we need to walk in concert and be in partnerships and builders. Yes, we need to do all that, but we cannot forget that outside of intimacy, sometimes we just need to blow each other's brains out. I mean, we just really need to just put that freak on each other because it unleashes all types of endorphins and it renews us and it cleanses our spirits because we've gotten rid of that lustful part that may be attracted towards somebody else. Now, all your lust, all that stuff, you direct that towards your partner.
Yes.
And watch your partner appreciate it. Those moments that are intimate, you need those. Those moments that are loving, yes, you need those.
Yes.
And you need those moments where it's just raw, unadulterated. I almost said the F word, but we're going to call it sex tonight for the show.
Right.
So don't get it twisted. We always going to march in the right direction together. We always going to move to do things to build our communities. But every now and then, oh, I'm gonna need to blow your brains out, blow your back out.
Right.
I want you to understand, ladies. It's got to happen to you. You got to give it to me too. Because when we bring ourselves together like that, we move in power. When we move in power, people get scared. And they should be, because we're powerful.
Oh.
That's all I got on that, brother.
Goodness. Oh my goodness. And listen, just so that I am congruent, I support any message that tells us to freak each other.
You only said it like 3 times.
One more time, crap.
There you go. Say it one more time.
We need to talk about it more and we need to do it more. You know, we got to bring more love back into the world, man. Sometimes people, you know, when you see people out in the grocery stores and, you know, walking around at work and stuff, they have these looks on their face like they ain't had none in a long time. They look like they stressed and, you know, ain't got none in a while.
You gonna kind of remind them.
Oh man, if I could call that fella's wife and say, hey, listen, when he get home tonight, I need you to put it on him, right? I need you to turn him inside out. And I guarantee you the next day he come to work full of ideas and with a great attitude.
All right. Tell you what, Kraft.
It's just what the world needs, man.
Ask Jeffrey about the topic. I'm kind of wondering what his thoughts is.
Okay, Brother Jeffrey. Tonight's topic reads like this. What are the things that people do to push one another away? How do we mess up good things? What are the pitfalls in building relationships? What's your take on that, Brother Jeffrey?
You know, that's real easy. The number one thing that we do to push people away is we stop focusing on the we and we start focusing on the me. This is what I mean. In a relationship, there's always got to be the we. I'm not focusing on what I'm getting or what I'm not getting. I'm focusing on what I'm giving to the relationship. Because when I'm giving to the relationship, that means I'm giving to my woman. What happens though is we start focusing on what we ain't getting. You know, my man Kraft got this woman that bought him a new car. My man Jay, you know, his woman done took him skydiving. And I'm still sitting here on Metropolitan trying to wait for one shoot to reopen. The thing is this now. The thing is this. I'm focusing on what I ain't got. Forget the fact that my wife or my woman made sure that my dinner was cooked every day.
Yes.
Or she made sure that when I need some freaking, she set it out.
Yes.
I'm focusing on what I'm not getting. What I have to remember is what I have and continue to give and not start focusing on the me.
Right.
You focus on the me, you push the we away. And that's what happens a lot of times too often in too many relationships.
Absolutely, man.
Back to selfishness.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
drop the mic again. Why I tell you, Jeffrey in the building. Jeffrey, you sure you're at the hotel? You at work? Still slapping their mouth out. I promise you, that's Jeffrey.
Man, I mean, you can't even say anything else about that, right? We versus me. That always equals a broken relationship, right?
And divide.
Yeah, and as I thought about tonight's topic, I didn't even think of it quite in that way, and so I've got another perspective on the subject. I've got about 15, maybe even 20 qualities that causes people to be pushed away from you, and we're going to cover those tonight. But let's first thank the good Reverend Dr. Jeffrey, Brother Jeffrey. Man, we just we're so grateful for your participation in this show. It really makes a difference, man, and brings a lot of value and a lot of love in its own way. So thank you again, man. Any parting words for us tonight?
Oh man, you know, I'm headed back upstairs to this little meeting that I'm in, but after that, somebody can sleep tonight. I encourage you to do the same thing.
There you go. Put it down, Jeffrey. Put it down. Flip that collar upside down.
Yeah, I want you to relieve all your stress, man. As my boy said, I want you to go up on the down.
That's right. Flip it.
All right, brother. Listen, we'll talk to you next week, man. Have a nice evening.
All right,
brother.
man. Yeah. All right, have a seat.
Okay. And folks, you can see we are on fire here at the Bar Talk with Jay show, and we are about to go into the second half of the show. This is where Jay and I go in on the subject, and I think tonight is going to hit home for everybody, because what we're ultimately talking about is the qualities of people that the qualities that run us away from people. Maybe sometimes we can interject what attracts us to people. But I'm a big proponent. My theory is that if it's not perfect, then there is a quality that we can pick out that makes it imperfect. What is that quality? And there's a whole host of them. So you folks stay with us, and you can already see we on one tonight.
Yes.
Brother Jay is always on one.
I mean, I mean, just saying.
Right.
I got problems.
So y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Bar Talk with Jay. Getting it in tonight,
Man, doing your thing big time.
boy. Yes, sir.
Now, I hope you had a good day. Because
me, I
Jeffrey obviously had a day that I'm still questioning. But how you doing?
No, I think Jeffrey is on that side where he not necessarily worried about happiness. He worried about his purpose, right?
Well, that's what it is.
And when you just always worried about your purpose, that sometimes you can get clouded, and it'll make you think from a perspective that you're always protecting, and you're always leading, and you're always directing, and you're always changing things. So I understand his mentality. I think most pastors are probably right where Brother Jeffrey is, right?
He's pretty on one.
They fight.
He on one.
Yeah, he is most certainly on one, right? But he hit the subject with a real hard blow. He says that we need to stop focusing on the we and focus on the me. That's where the problem starts, right? When we stop focusing on the we and we start focusing on the me. And there are lots of things that push people away. If somebody is just different than you, sometimes that'll push them away from you. That'll cause them maybe to push you away from them, right? There are a lot of qualities and a lot of factors that cause people to not get along. And I'd like to kind of start the discussion out way in the atmosphere, right?
You're going up there.
I'm going to the stratosphere because I think the stratosphere is where you can see the whole lay of the land.
Okay.
Right? And if you're sitting on a cloud and you looking down, you can almost see the entire state. Right? Well, here's the state. That our lives and oftentimes the achievements that we create in life are based on selling ourselves.
Okay.
Selling ourselves isn't all the time about your talent or your skill. It's about your ability to influence. And when you really understand influence, you'll understand how laws get made. You'll understand how policies for border patrol and policies for educational system, and you'll understand how policies get made when you understand influence, because it takes a body of people to say yes before those laws go into place. And before those laws go into place, we're always selling ourselves, right? And oftentimes that if you have a relationship with a previous employer and you can't go back and work for that previous employer, it's because of something that you did, something you said, you left a bad impression on those folks. You almost burn a bridge, right? And you could have saved or protected the bridge from being burned up by managing it the right way. Handling things the right way. I'm talking about selling ourselves to create influence, right? So let me tie this conversation into this whole list of things that cause people to push themselves away from one another. TK said it. Lying is a big one.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yeah.
If someone lies to you, then obviously you just can't trust them. And why are you going to put your money or your resource or your opportunities or your information into the hands of someone you cannot trust? You wouldn't do that, right? And so in order to maintain a good long-term relationship with anyone, you have to have that level of trust, and you have to have a commitment to be honest with those people, whether you want to or not, whether it's easy or not. You have to be honest. And it will always pay off. Most people run from the truth because they think that it's going to hurt.
Hard to handle.
Right, it's hard to handle. But the reality is that once it comes out, it's really easy for everybody to take, you know, and to handle. What goes with lying, stealing? Right?
Oh,
Right? Hopefully you ain't got nobody in your circle that'll steal from you. But if you steal something from somebody, they ain't gonna want you around no more.
no.
And you will burn a bridge, and you will not be able to interact with that person and maybe even bear some of the fruits of their success and their achievements.
That's definitely a burning bridge.
They're not gonna bring you back into you know, the people of influence who can take you to the next level or open doors for you, right? What about people who are rude?
You don't gotta talk about me. I mean, I can't always help it, crap. It's just, I'm
Would you
working
consider,
on it.
you would consider yourself rude, Jay?
I mean, I say some things that I would be like, you know, something that didn't come out too well. Barbara over there
I
talking.
heard-
Yeah, I can be.
I heard Barbara in the
Yeah, I
background.
can be. Again, let me, little quick defense. I'm a Christian under construction. I ain't never said I was right.
No excuse.
I have some problems.
Yes.
I wasn't well put together. The good Lord didn't give me everything.
So what causes you to be rude to somebody?
Somebody being rude to me.
That's a given.
Okay. Second.
That's the only reason?
Nah.
Oh, what's that?
Sometimes they attitude.
You're not feeling well that day or something?
No, they attitude. You know, everybody be. See, I deal with a lot of negatives.
Okay.
And sometimes I try to come with a positive.
Right.
Sometimes people wear me down. So guess what? Negative take over. I had a negative vibe before I got to a positive vibe. And I found out if I don't control, and I really learned, crap, I gotta stay out my feelings. My feelings get me there. But when I get out of my feelings and I give it what I go with facts, I get less opinionated and less rudeness because I feel like I have to be more dominant when I get in my feelings. So I had to learn me better. And I learned not to be as rude as I was because I got in my feelings and I didn't care. And that's
So-
what feelings get. You
so
get
are you-
emotional overload.
Are you suggesting that
I erupted.
when you get in your feelings that you can share the bad news easier? What do you?
Oh
what are you
yeah,
saying?
well not just I give it to you like you don't want to hear it. See, a lot of times when you're out of your feelings, I can rationalize and give it to you in a way that I would think you can understand it better, but it's not in feelings, so I'm not yelling. But when I get in feeling, I'm giving it to you boastfully, I'm giving it to you raw, I'm giving it to you in a way that I would like to say when I get back out of my feelings,
Yeah.
I didn't deliver it correctly. And
So-
that's why I say a lot of that is me.
Okay.
It's not the person, and I can't blame the person because I took that and I have to take ownership of my mistakes.
And have you burned a bridge because of that before?
I like to say yes.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, I know I was rude
Okay.
to myself.
Right.
And if I don't say I was, I will continue doing it. So sometimes you got to look at yourself. It's like a mirror.
Yeah.
And I look at a conversation I had and I got heated. And at the end of the conversation, they didn't say nothing to me. They probably took it foul. They walked away. But I said to myself, I could have handled that better.
Okay. I like
and
that.
then
I
when
like
I walk away, I don't always just go back and turn to the person I talk to because I feel like they're already in their feelings at this point.
Right.
But I say to myself, if I continue to do this, I will never have friends. I would never get better.
Yes.
But what I can do is when I see them again, apologize on the deliverance and give them a better understanding of how I could have did it.
Now see.
And then leave it alone.
That's what I really like about this show, because what Jay just said was very therapeutic. It was rational. It was kind of common sense. But we're all going to have a situation that we blow up, or we spit off something out of our mouth that may hurt other people's feelings, or something that ultimately we will regret. And those things are going to happen. But you can't leave it there, right? You don't want to leave that bad taste in your boss's mouth when you walk out of that room after you saying what you had to say. All right? There are times where you can get upset and you can blow up and you can say those things, but you have to go back and fix it, right? And I love people who will come back 5 minutes later, the next day, the next week, and they'll say, you know, I'm really sorry. What I said, I meant, but I really didn't mean to say it the way I said it. And I can respect that. Right? And I can understand by then I will have already digested what they wanted to say. But the fact that they came across so blunt or so rash or so non-caring is what really upset me. So it's not necessarily what you say, it's how you say it. And I think it is mindful that when you make those mistakes, you got to go back and fix those things. Right? We're talking about what pushes people away from you. If you're in a love relationship, if you're married or you're in a long-term relationship, and something comes out of your mouth that hurts the other person's feelings, you are obligated to go back and apologize. You are obligated to go back and try to make that right. Because again, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. And men, you know very well that women will listen to way more of what you're saying and way more of how you're saying it than what you're saying. Right? They listen to messages that you don't even want them to pay attention to. And if you're going to have a relationship with a woman, guys, you gotta concede defeat. That is very necessary to have a relationship with a woman, because a woman is thinking from an emotional standpoint.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just grunting.
Why are you grunting?
I had a relapse.
Yeah.
That was my way of getting in real quick. I had somebody say to me, "You go around the block when I give an answer. You don't give it directly. You go around the block, corner store, and all this."
Okay.
I said, "Okay."
Okay.
So then I started giving it to her straight up.
Right.
Why you, man? I can't handle it.
She couldn't handle it like that, huh?
But my whole thing is, I listened to how your response was, how I give answers, and I felt like I gave answers in a way that 9 times out of 10, it won't hurt your feelings. She was like, I'm a big girl. I need to know how it is and give it to me.
She coming straight, no chase.
When I said that, I said, okay, you a big girl. You like your liquor with no eyes. You
Right.
want it straight up.
Right.
I can give it how you like it.
Right.
Just make sure you know what you want.
Right. Go
Yeah.
burn your chest.
Bro,
Right.
gave it to her.
You
Gave
can
it.
handle it. And listen, that's an important point to make, that you got to determine how to deliver these messages. Some people, especially, I'm in sales. There are some customers I hit right between the eyes. But I only hit them between the eyes because it settles them down. It puts them back on their heels, and they come in arrogant, thinking they know it all, thinking they know my job.
Mm-hmm.
And then I push back on them. I'm like, well, listen, if you can buy a car without me, you know what I'm saying, go right ahead. But right now, you need to find some inventory, and you need to get some numbers, and you need to get some answers. So you might have met a bad salesperson down the road, but I'm not that guy. And I'm not sure why you're being mean to me or rude to me right now, but, let's change and start all over. I'm Stacy. Come on, man. This is supposed to be a great experience. Let's have a great time. And I'll start changing the attitude, but I hit them between the eyes. And it's necessary to hit them between the eyes because you got to meet people where they are. Right? If somebody coming at you real foul and real, anger, temperament, etc., when you meet them there, then you can bring them down. But if you're just going to be down here and let them be up there, they're never going to see themselves. Right?
They feel like you already smart.
Well, Greg,
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Barbara.
It's from the audience. They would like to know, why is it so hard for a man to give closure? And they would like for you to respond.
What you want? Anybody? Me?
They want
Craft?
to be craft.
Oh, go ahead, Craft.
Why?
Craft.
You say,
Thank
why is it so hard
Thank you, Jesus.
For a man to give closure.
for a
No, not
man
you.
for a man to give closure? That's a very interesting question. And I'm just going to put my quick 2 cents on it and let Jay get to it.
No.
Right?
I wouldn't touch it.
I mean, here's the reality.
This one is for you, but I have one for him.
Here's the reality. When men communicate with men, they always find closure. There's never a question about how it ended what was said, what he was suggesting. If we need to talk again, when men meet with men, it's real easy. But when men deliver those same exact messages to women, they aren't received. And there's a spin on it. There is a take on it. There is, something else that has to be identified or talked about. And ultimately, we're saying the same thing that we said to the man, we're saying to the woman. It is difficult for women to accept closure. I think because oftentimes they may not be as interested in the kind of closure that men are interested in. And so now we have two different agendas. Now we got an argument. Now we got a disagreement. Now we got a confrontation to deal with rather than the issue at hand. So it becomes the issue and the confrontation. It becomes the issue and the disagreement, right?
Totally.
So, and I'm not attempting to make, anybody out to be a bad person, but women receive messages very differently. And I think that closure is one of those things that women oftentimes won't allow to happen.
Wow. Crab just knocked that out the park. What you got for me?
I try to do it with love, man.
You did it. It was a little bit of sympathy and empathy.
Jeremiah said, how long are you supposed to accept someone ignoring you and being secretive when they are in your presence before you give up?
Okay. How long do you... I'm not going to lie to you. I'm like this.
Is that like playing you off?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. How long do you put up with somebody? I like to say, I don't like to be tolerated. I like to be celebrated. So if I got to keep tolerating people's behavior and things that they do, I have to evaluate. That's personal. I can't give a time frame on anyone. But I can tell you, life is not about being tolerated. It's not about going around tolerating people's rude behavior or somebody ignoring you when you're giving your best. Make sure you're giving your best though. So before you start looking and judging the person that's doing these things, make sure you have a reflection of yourself, because they might be doing it because what you're doing. All right? So it's real easy to blame. And when you talk about somebody's doing something, it can be a reaction off of your actions. So before I start throwing a time frame and you got bad behavior yourself, that don't make sense. Look at yourself, evaluate you first, and then you can see your situation maybe differently, because again, you might be able to see why they're doing what they do. I can't give a time frame on a relationship ever, because it's going to be up to you. But I always say evaluate and make a firm decision. If it's going to cost you your happiness, then you should have already made that decision earlier. You know what's in you, and you probably, especially a female, finesse and understand what that man has in him. When it doesn't work, you have to evaluate and you have to make that strong decision. It's going to be hard, but bottom line, happiness lies within you. You can't just look at him and think that's going to make your happiness. It starts with you.
Are we kind of talking about silent treatment, right? Is that what we talking about, playing somebody off, Barbara?
Yes.
It's kind of a childish idea. It really is. It's kind of an immature idea. It happens. It happens all the time. If you're in a meeting and everybody's been there, you're in a meeting at work, and you kind of say something, that crosses, your peer or your boss's ideas, they might not speak to you walking down the hallway in the next hour, right? It happens all the time. Again, I think it's very mature and immature. I'm sorry, very immature, and you really don't respond to it. What I typically do is I play exactly the game. I meet them where they are. So if they don't talk to me, I don't talk to them. And then what I do is I go way beyond. So the next day, I'll be walking across the parking lot acting like I don't even see them. Right? And then, and then the next thing you know, they're proactively attempting to have a conversation with me. So I just do, what I call a negative reverse. But we don't have time to be spending time.
Wasting
time on people who are playing mind games. It's just...
Waste of time.
It's a waste of time. It's too silly.
And that's
right?
the one thing you can never get back.
Yeah. Absolutely. Listen, folks, we got to take a break, but we are all over the subject tonight. Again, we're talking about things that people do to push one another away. And we got a whole laundry list of stuff we haven't covered. So y'all stay with us. This is Bar Talk with Jay.
Bar Talk with Jay. Yes, it's on and popping in the house tonight. Woo! With the nice sounds of Smooth Craftmatic. My man do it every time.
On it, baby.
Now we had a sidebar. My man Phil is in the building. I know y'all are wondering where was he at. Yes, he was in the building. He had a different way of looking at what was going on. Did you hear him?
Man, it was profound, actually.
Yes, and then I said, you know something? He wanted to tell it like, we ain't gonna bring him in and let him talk about you ain't punking me tonight. Oh, you getting punked tonight, player. You getting up in here tonight.
Are those on, man?
Oh, no, they ain't on yet. They ain't on yet. You need to get up here. Phil, come on up in the building. The women want to know what's your thoughts on this closure, player.
I mean, because
he come on the show.
He brought it. Yeah, he brought it. And I think this point is really important. Men will truly identify with it. I hope that the women will identify with it as well. But can you pull the mic to you and get
we
you
might want to hear you.
Yeah, get you a good. Make sure you
got that nice look.
Go ahead.
Protein
test right there. Yeah.
Oh, we got
him.
We got him already.
Okay, beautiful. Listen, so you were telling us the question came through that basically said why men can't talk about closure, like why they don't express closure with women. What is up with that?
Go ahead, man.
And you heard what I said, and I seen you over there clapping.
Yeah.
Home run.
Oh, yeah. Give high fives to everybody.
Well, this is just my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that it's not that women don't accept closure.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a problem with closure.
Okay.
They have a problem with rejection.
Yes.
Because women normally don't get rejected. I mean, from the time you start dating, you start trying to get a woman, it's either yes or either no.
Right.
You try to get a number in the club, it's either yes or either no.
Right.
So we built up a tolerance for getting rejected all the time.
Right.
Women haven't. They don't have to hunt. We have to hunt. So either you get your prey or you don't.
Or you get the next prey.
You keep on praying, but you still keep hunting.
You still keep hunting.
But women just don't get rejection. They can deal with closure, but rejection, they don't have a tolerance for rejection.
Yeah.
It's hard to get rejected from a woman to get rejected.
And listen, I got a buddy of mine who loves women and women love him. And so he says to me, he's a handsome guy, you know what I'm saying, model type cat. He said, man, my strikeout average is real high. He said, but that's why I got so many women, man. He said, because, I get told no a lot. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm getting told no less the older I get. But he said, so men have to plan batting averages just to be accepted, right? And but I don't think women could deal with that. I wish they had to deal with the level of rejection that we have to. And we are oftentimes, I said it before, we aren't being rejected necessarily because of who we are. Oftentimes the knucklehead before us ruined our opportunity, right? Or maybe she had too much to drink, or maybe she does have somebody in her life, and so we got to experience the no behind that. But we experience it a lot, and women don't. And they do, I think oftentimes women will confuse closure with rejection. True. And a man is just trying to put it to rest, but the woman is feeling rejected. And that is not necessarily how it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? You're blaming us for the closure, but at the same we've created the closure, But you don't want to call it closure, you want to call it rejection.
No, that's what it is. Because if I tell you I don't want to be with you, and you like, let's talk about it, what's there to talk about?
Ain't nothing
You
to talk
just
about.
got rejected. That's closure.
Okay. Okay. I
So
like
it's,
that.
it's
I
simple
like
to
that.
us. It's confusing to others.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like Kraft said, you can have the same conversation with a man,
Right.
and we get it.
and we understand. Look,
Totally.
I don't like you no more. We're not cool no more. I don't want to deal with you anymore.
Right.
Done.
And it's
Okay,
done.
I understand.
Cool.
A woman?
Why?
Exactly.
Listen.
Why?
Not always
What
true.
was
Some
it?
women don't feel that way.
Hold on.
I'm
Hold
gonna
on.
tell you right now. It's that other one.
Hold on. I don't want.
I know what it was.
I don't want this show
Oh, shit.
to be a man bashing. I don't want this show to be a man bashing show.
Oh.
Barbara, you need to speak up.
Okay.
I just did. I told him it's not all women.
Into the mic, please.
So
It's-
a lot
not-
of women accept rejection. They can. Is
Yes,
that what
they
you said?
can.
Oh, they
Okay.
can.
Just like they can give it.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, that's all.
Okay.
And some men don't know how to deal with rejection. Just like some women.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay. I mean, we can
Okay.
receive that.
She putting some heels on some folks. That's what I'm talking about.
We can receive that, right?
No.
That is the truth. Some men can't handle rejection. I
Well, so,
see.
I mean,
I
guess-
see men pout because they get rejected.
It's true. And some become stalkers.
Right. Right.
Oh Lord.
It's way more women stalkers than men.
It
though.
sure is.
That's
Hold on.
We're not changing the subject.
Hold on.
tonight.
Yeah.
We got a lot to cover.
I mean, that's rejection.
Yeah. Yeah. We.
No,
Yeah.
let's
That is.
put it like this.
That's closure.
Let's put it like this. I think a lot of people have a hard time just dealing with the situation. Now, that's either gender.
Right. Either gender.
Because I like to say, Phil had a great point. Women do not experience that a lot. So, of course, they're going to have a problem with it, and they call it closure.
Right.
So they changing the whole scenario. But to a man, it was real simple. I gave it to you, and I gave it to you in a way that I know you can understand it. But I do hear people come back and say he ain't ever give me the closure I need. But yeah, he told you he didn't want to mess with you.
You need it.
Right.
Now, I'm gonna
So,
tell you-
it's a perception.
Now listen,
That changed.
we all know that this conversation changes dramatically in a professional environment. Whether it's a woman or a man talking to you, we can pretty much, the blinders are off in a professional environment. You can hear that, hey, I know you're on the team, but I really don't like you, and I'm probably gonna give you a bad survey. I'm probably gonna give you a bad report, right? So we can hear it in the professional environment. In the personal environment, it becomes misconstrued. Now, I know you guys got so much to share on the
Go
subject.
for it, go for it.
I'm just gonna name 3 or 4 more of these qualities that push people away from us.
Okay.
And you guys can chime in wherever you want. We certainly don't like people who are sneaky. We don't like people who are noisy. We don't like people who gossip a lot. They might take our business and share it with somebody else. That means we don't want them around, right? We don't like people who know it all, maybe who are arrogant. We definitely don't like negative people around us, right? Negative people just drain the energy out of you. And if you're negative and you come in my sphere of influence, every time you come into my sphere of influence after that, I'm probably going to separate. Or I'm probably going to make sure that I don't end up in, the locker room having a conversation with you.
Alrighty.
Because you're going to drain me, right? And we all know those people. We all know those people who, even in a relationship, your girlfriend, wife, significant other, you're trying to be positive, but they keep hounding on the negative. And it does nothing but push you away. It does nothing but push you away.
I would agree. Negative, it makes me have to go to your level. It's like what you said before. And again, I have to meet you there with the hope of I can get you out of there. And sometimes we end up staying there. And it's not where we really need to be. So that, yes, it can push a person totally away.
Yeah.
The noisy, me and Phil both had that look. It just depends on the situation. The noisy can be a positive.
Or
It
negative.
is. That way we can
I'm
work
looking more
with it a little
positive,
bit. If I can make you
I'm
noisy.
looking more
Listen,
positive.
fellas, we talk about the pitfalls of
Oh, okay,
good
okay,
relationships,
okay,
right?
In that aspect, yes, it could be.
Oh, so there was no sexual undertone.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Without that,
When it
then
comes to
yeah,
sex, when it comes to sex, noise is good,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Noise is good. Unless there's children in the house, then you know you got to plan it. You know,
Well,
you got to plan around.
God bless you. Daddy, you're
around.
not gonna know. Daddy, you heard mommy.
Put a muzzle on it.
I'm trying to teach you a lesson, son. I'll tell you about this tomorrow.
But she sounds like she need me, Daddy.
You heard mommy.
No, we just talking. I'm proud of you. We just talking. Just loud talking. That's all it is. I'm trying to stay on the subject. fellas.
We are.
All right.
You trying to get back? Focused.
So sneaky people, noisy gossip.
Yeah.
We said.
Gossip.
I think people who have bad tempers. If you have a bad temper and you always snap at anything people say, or you want to always call the manager at the restaurant and send food back, you know, just cause you're temperamental or you maybe too picky, sometimes that'll push people away from you. You ever had somebody around you who was just always nitpicking at stuff? It pushed you away.
I can definitely tell you yes, and I can also say sometimes you tolerate because
Depends on the reward.
right. I can see past their indiscretions and the small things that they do, but they got other great characteristics.
Right.
That I say that right there, they're germaphobe. Everything got to be super clean, and it's like, that's not normally me. So everything got to be super clean, but
Not attractive.
right, it's not that portion ain't,
Right.
but it's a lot of good things and qualities about her
Right.
that will make me say, you know something, I can tolerate and deal with this because there's a give and take. Because there's gonna be some things about me that she's gonna take that she don't like.
Right.
But then we're both building. So I'm gonna have to be a little cleaner than I used to be,
Okay.
which is it can be a positive thing.
Okay.
So you don't always want to take it on as a negative.
Absolutely.
Because they throwing it on you and you take it as a negative naturally because that's not you. I don't clean up everything. I don't do all this extra stuff. But that is a good quality to have. But a lot of times how you perceive it. Because you be like, if that's a person that you want to be with, you can perceive it a little better. Compared to a person that, hey, that's a fly-by-night. That ain't going to work.
Right.
Because you ain't going to be here cleaning up nothing.
Right.
I don't like you like that, Last night wasn't even that great. Bye. So at that point, you showing a little aggression, but you're
Right.
also showing that, hey, it was, and then it goes back to that closure. Why did he just push me out? The rejection is not always going to be taken quickly because the bottom line is no one wants to receive it. As a man too, there's times that somebody throws that at us and it's hard to take. Stalking is a different level.
Right.
That's just a person that does not want to give up, period. Okay, that's just scary.
Right.
And a lot of times you gotta watch the people that come on to you and listen to what they say. Because a stalker normally reveals certain ways about them.
Yeah.
They'll let you know they ain't giving up.
Yeah.
Okay? Death to us part. It's like Chucky with me, baby.
Let me ask you-
Yeah, hold on. What you mean like Chucky? Chucky what?
Tell me a
Chucky
story
monkey.
about the last time someone took you for granted.
The last time somebody took. Oh, that. For the last time somebody took me for granted.
Yeah.
That wasn't long ago.
I mean, that,
I mean, it happen all the time, bro.
right.
I mean, you gotta understand, me with my way I talk and present myself, and a lot of people be like, man, you just a fool, you just a whore,
Right.
you this and that. It's more about me than you will ever know until you really get to know me. I give a fake facade. And I say a fake one is because I'm more than what you ever see.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be more than what you ever perceive.
Right.
Because to me, you're looking at just what I have, and I can get a lot more. My whole thing is, I'm not really crying about material things ever. I have fun and I have jokes because I have pain.
Right.
I found ways to get through things, but you don't understand my pain. But when you get to know me, you'll realize my pain is a virtue, it's a lesson. I don't cry about it.
So what did you do with that person who took you for granted?
What I do?
Yeah, how do you treat them? How do you deal with them? What perspective do you have on those people who take? Because listen, in relationships, folks, what I'm getting to is that when you take someone for granted, when you take your spouse for granted, when you take your boss for granted, when you take someone for granted, you challenge the relationship.
Right.
And what do you do with those people who take you for granted?
They still trying to figure out why there's no closure. Because I moved on.
Okay.
And they wonder why wasn't it closure.
You just leave on them.
I'm going to be honest.
You just disappear on them.
I can't go and be where I'm just tolerated. I go where I'm celebrated.
Okay.
So if you're going to just do me like that, I feel like I'm just being tolerated. So guess what? You're going to be wondering why.
Right.
There is, because I feel like you showed it to me.
Right.
I didn't show that disrespect to you. I gave you me, and you gave me you, and you let me know how you feel. And I respect it. But now at this point, I have to move on. I evaluate it, and I have to move.
Right.
So that's closure. It ain't gonna always be pretty, but guess what? It happens. Evaluate.
Well, see, I think that in an effort to build any type of relationship, work, personal or professional, you can never take for granted. For example, you come in late one day at work, right? And you just walk into your office and your boss don't say nothing, and you know, nobody ever mentions it. You just keep on working and you have a great day, and the next day you come in late again, and then the next day you might come in late, and at a certain point your boss is starting to think like, okay, does he think I'm not watching him? Does he think like I don't care? Does he think like my boss isn't looking at the time cards, and so I'm supposed to be a better manager by holding him accountable? I mean, like, you know, that's taking for granted. That pushes people away from one another, right? Because you take me for granted that I really can't trust you with valuable information. I can't trust you with responsibility. I may not be able to just trust you in our relationship. And those are the kinds of things that I kind of wanted to get to in this subject, because those are the things that are really hindering people from coming together.
I agree.
Right?
You know, we
That
got
just because you paid don't mean I should expect you to buy my lunch every time we go out. That's taking a person for granted.
But that's why we gotta go to break. You know we gotta go to break.
We
You see,
do,
he
yeah.
chomping at the bits.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to stay tuned to find out why I feel is chopping so much at the bits. Yeah, I did it on purpose, man. 'Cause you ain't going nowhere, man. Welcome back to Bar Talk with Jay with the smooth sounds of Craftmatic. My man Phil was chomping at the bits when my man Craft gave a quick breakdown. So I'm gonna go back and let Phil have a moment here. Go ahead and give us the short, sweet, and smooth.
Yeah, we were talking about taking for granted, and you looked like you was chomping at the bits over there.
Well, I'm chomping at the bits over, you know, everything. And I'll be short, sweet, straight to the point.
Okay.
For any relationship to work, you only need two things.
Okay.
Number one, you need communication.
Okay.
Number two, you need tolerance. Because everything that we outline here, lying, stealing, being rude, sneaky, noisy, gossiping, cheating, know-it-all, arrogant, and etc. If you have communication and you have tolerance, the relationship can work.
Right.
However, it cannot work due to the fact that you don't communicate and you don't have tolerance. So as long as you have those two things and you have love, a relationship can work.
Yes.
I'm glad you threw that other one in there, because I'm about to tell you, there's three, but
Well, that's true.
two major
Wait.
facets. Two major
Excuse me?
facets. But it's three.
Yeah.
And again, that love. And if you want to break it down with the love start with care.
Of course.
You gotta care, okay? Just that's what care turns into. Just being on the upfront, because everybody don't love everybody on the upfront. I've loved in my heart all day long because I also have care. But I have to give people the care first because people don't even show care in their day-to-day life. And that's sad to me. For as much love as I got, I'm willing to give. And I see you don't care nothing about human life. That's never good to me.
But listen, that didn't start now. That's how
It hasn't. It's been
that's how they
a
was
while.
raised. That's who they were. Past behavior equals future behavior.
Can
They
you
may
tolerate?
not be able to
That's-
express love
That's not true.
in that way. Yes, that is very
no,
true.
No. I disagree.
With
Past
what?
behavior does not equal future behavior.
In most cases, yes.
No, it's up to the individual to see what they were brung from to make a decision
Right.
if they want to continue in that path or take it upon themselves to change and break the cycle.
Right. It is.
So,
But if they don't do that,
means
they're
that
going
the
to
person
continue to
needs
repeat
be
the same
aware
error.
of self.
Right. But you're talking about
Awareness.
the fine line where people are conscious.
You know,
What I'm talking about is that if somebody's lied to you, more than likely they're going to lie to you again. If somebody's cheated on you, more than likely they're going to cheat on you again. We're talking about the
That's not
fundamentals of
necessarily
human behavior over millions of years of human history. Past behavior equals future behavior. That's the psychological theory of humanity. It's like if you only know poverty, then you probably are going to live a life of poverty.
But that
Right?
comes with exposure.
Exposure gives you the opportunity to choose,
Yes.
right? But
That's what you have books for.
yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I know. I mean, listen. If you were treating a child for bad behavior, then you have to stimulate the stimuli. You have to manifest the stimuli. But if you don't, then he was bad and he's going to be bad. He's not going to make that change himself. It has to be stimulated. And we expect adults to be stimulating people and to stimulate their own minds. We expect that person who's late for work every day to somehow say, hey, maybe I should get up a little earlier, maybe I can leave a little earlier, maybe I can pack my lunch the night before and get my out. They don't do that. They're gonna continue. You can look in their report over 15 years of work history and see that they've been late. That's all I'm talking about. I'm not talking about changing people. I'm talking about observing who people are. And the guy who's when you ride down the sidewalk, when you ride down the street, and you see a person who is, let's say they're just walking. They're just walking with their bags, right?
Okay.
That's a person who can't even fathom the consciousness sometimes of getting on a plane, buying their own car, buying their own house. It takes extreme stimuli for those behaviors to change. The average human will not change their behavior more than 15% in a lifetime from the age of 6 on through adulthood. We're talking about the psychology of human history. Nothing different. You know what I mean? It's not based on a niche set of facts. It's based on the general behavior of humanity. We know how it works.
That is on maturity as well.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you can say, and we can take the stats and say, hey, this is what you're going to be because this is what your mother and father was.
Right.
However, it's up to that individual to make change, and they have to develop self-awareness to be able to make that change.
Yes.
Because most of the people in this world only move from their inheritance, what they were brought up with.
That's what I'm talking about. Right.
So most of the people stay in the norm and conform.
Right.
A lot of people don't want to be outside of the box and be like, I'm going to make my own decision. I only have one life. I understand what you're saying, Mom and Dad. but that's not what I believe in anymore.
Absolutely.
So it's up to the individual to make change. And in regards to someone being late, I mean, we have 30, 40, 50 years, I mean, adolescents. They haven't made that switch and made that change yet.
Right. Right.
Just because you're 34, 35, 40, doesn't mean that you're a grown man or a grown woman. You get that by default, just because of your age.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me just cover. Barbara put together some pitfalls to avoid to keep your relationships alive, and I think we've covered most of them. But I think this is a great summary to finding ways to keep a relationship alive. And we're not only talking about personal and interpersonal relationships. We're talking about associates, right? Most of the decisions that we make about relationships are going to be on associate levels. Thousands of people around you, how you manage them, how you influence them, how you stay in the game with them, and how you manage their BS sometimes. Number one, communication is key. I think Jay said that. Okay? We have to be careful that we don't spend a lot of time dealing with other folks' insecurities. Right?
Well,
I think-
no, I disagree. Insecurity is on you.
Okay.
It's up to you to be insecure or not. If you choose to let someone allow you to be insecure, that's your fault.
Right. But what I'm suggesting is that other people will make a relationship hard for you because they're insecure.
Yeah, and that's on them.
That's on them. Right.
That's not you.
My point is, we have to be careful that we
Right.
pay attention to whether another person is operating out of security or insecurities. And if they're operating out of insecurities, then you have to determine if that's something you can and are willing to deal with.
That's tolerance. And at the same time,
Yeah.
that's not fair to who you're dealing with, because if your past has made you insecure and looks at someone else and then you're insecure,
Right.
that's not fair to you, and that's not fair to the person that you're dealing with.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. What about jealousy? We got to examine the motives of jealousy.
That's
Sometimes-
insecurity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, but it's real,
Oh, yeah.
and it happens all the time.
Yeah, you
You
scratch
probably
up.
you probably have missed some job opportunities because folks were jealous and didn't want to vote you in, right? But you could have managed those folks perhaps some other way. You could have influenced them more. We talked a lot about this whole discussion is really about the essence of it is selling yourself, right? And making sure that you operate out of getting the most out of other people. How you influence the world. Changing together to keep the relationship strong. Everybody's going to have to change. Change is a constant. You should expect it. The woman you marry at 20 is not the same woman you're married to at 30. It's not the same person you're married to at 40 and at 50. Every single year they become different people, and that's what makes relationships difficult, is that we're always trying to figure each other out and we're always trying to adapt. By the time we adapt, that person's already gone to something else. That's what makes it difficult. And
That's why you shouldn't try to figure anyone out.
well, you shouldn't, but if they're gonna live in your house, you're gonna have some level of figuring it out.
No.
Right? If they're gonna live under your roof, you're gonna have some understanding.
They
And
don't
that's
show
really,
you who their true character is by actions.
I mean, you may perceive their actions. That's where communication is incomplete. You may perceive them as being rude, but they're the people, they just kind of like telling it like it is, right? And there's a fine line there. My mom was, she was the sweetest person in the world, but when she had to say something, she said it. And she didn't mean nothing derogatory about it. When she got done saying it, she smiled and laughed with you the same way.
That doesn't
But
mean she's rude.
people's perception was that she was being harsh or blunt or
There's
too-
nothing wrong
too
with
direct.
being harsh, and there's nothing wrong with being blunt.
It depends on your audience,
No, it doesn't.
right? Ask a child. It
No.
does. It does. It depends.
No.
It
We're
depends
talking
on your
about grown
audience.
people right now.
We're talking about people.
This is a
Right.
relationship. We're talking about grown people.
You don't have relationships with your children?
Of course I do.
I mean, sometimes your children may think, you know what, my dad's a real jerk. Or, you know what, my dad just wants the best for me. They're going to come out of that same conversation with one of those two attitudes.
True.
My dad wants the best for me, or my dad's a real jerk. He's not willing to listen. He's not willing to understand. You just fail. You just fail at communication and tolerance. So
No,
it
you
really depends on the audience, whether it be a child, a spouse, a grandma, an auntie, a cousin. It's one and the same. It has to be one and the same because it's just people communicating with people.
Same difference.
Especially. Let's see. Silence proves a pitfall.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Silence
we got
does not
some, we got a
prove
combative
pitfall.
spirit in the
Oh,
house
yeah.
tonight,
Sorry.
right?
It does not.
Okay.
Obviously, you want to fight
I'm
it. but
sorry. Hey,
Keep going.
silence is golden.
Silence is golden.
Silence is golden. You
Okay.
don't want to talk to me? Hey,
Yeah,
that's
hey,
cool with me. I ain't got to say nothing.
Right.
No, obviously we're going personal. Let's keep going. Where's the rest? We got to go.
Silence is
The
golden.
night is about done. And
Listen, folks. You see how this conversation gets stirred up?
Silence is
I
golden.
didn't-
This is what we want to happen in your living room amongst your family and your friends. Get a conversation stirred up. Disagree with one another. Agree with one another. Find some ways to grow in the midst of that conversation. That's what Bar Talk is all about. Again, the whole theory is after you have your first drink, you let your hat off and you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and say it like you feel it. But you'll never be closed-minded. You'll always be open to a new idea. And so we are out of time, but we're grateful for you folks being with us tonight. It is always a pleasure to have Brother Phil in the studio, and we got Barb, and we got some more guests tonight in the house who make a difference. And so thank you folks so much for being here with us tonight. Any parting words for us, Brother
Any
Jay?
parting words I can always say is one of the things we try to do is come together and be able to have a communication that I like for you to take away from the show. It's not about what we do in here.
Right.
Our debates, and I love to say debates because we're not arguing. One of the things we try to do is give you factual information that you can take home with you and give it to your family and have your own conversation. You don't have to agree with us.
Right.
And it's not about agreeing, it's about having a conversation.
Right.
If you don't have the conversation, it kills relationships.
Right.
It's one of the key factors. Tolerance will be the second, and love is going to be a factor. But the tolerance, well, let's start communicating more.
That's me.
Because I think our tolerance is built off of other people's perception.
And it
And again,
shouldn't
a
be.
lot of that is inherited.
And it shouldn't be.
So I want you to find out better information.
Yeah.
Do your research.
Yeah.
And then you might be able to challenge your own tolerance. And you might be able to accept people for what they are.
And who
Is
they are.
and who they are compared to which.
Bar Talk with Jay.